Beth. I am a master level certified family partner. I've been working as a certified family partner in a local mental health authority that is a community mental health setting for about 6 years. And I've been a master level certified family partner for about 2 years. I'm a grandmom and a mom, and we do have a lot of family history with individuals with, mental health concerns. And that's what, led me to get into the field that I'm in. But I want to let you know that Nami was one of my first stops along the way. And they provided support for myself and my husband, when we needed it, and, set us on this path that we're on, along with our church family. So, I'm thankful that those individuals like, Andrew Horner were there in our lives from the beginning. So we have a wonderful PowerPoint presentation for you today, and we are going to go ahead and jump into our PowerPoint. Okay, so today as we're talking about certified family partners, we want you to know that a certified family partner can be known as a lot of different names, just probably doesn't have the certification. So they might be called in other settings or other states, a family peer support provider, a parent partner, even a navigator, a parent peer specialist. We're starting to be more identified in the peer world because we are peer support providers, but that's our role is very specific to providing support to the family. So we all may look, different across systems, but we're all providing support to families. And I chose to use these wonderful pictures of these puppies this year. Because of the pandemic, it's been a challenging couple of years for everyone, and I really feel like our pets, our dogs and our cats, they're our heroes for the last couple of years. They've been our emotional support, and I just wanted to honor them there for a minute. My apologies, there's no cats on the picture, but maybe we'll do cats next time. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our presentation. First, we're going to talk about, we're going to be talking about the history of family support, and it goes back to the federal level. And part of that history is talking about system of care. And Monica's going to, jump in and give us some information about system of care.
Thanks. So systems of care is actually a federal in different states. It's not just here in Texas, and it started a while ago, and Donna's going to give us a lot of history in a second. But in this pertaining to this webinar, we're talking about the Texas systems of care, and it's a statewide effort. And there's four core values. It's family driven, which means that the family is a part of the team and gets to identify what the family needs. When this new paradigm shift started, it used to be the professionals kind of writing plans and treatment plans. And then we realized that once, we really need to consider what the family needs and how that they need to be served. It's youth guided so that the youth has buy-in and is engaged in the process. So we definitely need the youth in our teams and in the planning because it is about them and it is about the family. It's community-based. We believe that the best place for our kiddos living with a mental health challenge is in the community, and we want to put as much services and supports that are in the community to foster that belief system that they really need to be in the community with their families instead of, in a residential, system or juvenile justice system. We work really hard to keep them in the community and get resources in their community. And it is also culturally grounded and sustainable, meaning that we have plans that the family can sustain after they've graduated and they're no longer working with a team, a wraparound team with systems of care. So we want to teach them how to fish, and we want to teach them, you know, their strengths and how they're going to stay in the community and build upon their strengths. So there is a quote here at the bottom, and it is the first definition of systems of care: a comprehensive spectrum of mental health and other necessary services, which are organized into a coordinated network to meet the multiple and changing needs of children and their families. That was in 1986. So every community looks different, and we're just, you know, tapping into the resources that the community, that the families live in.
Give me just a second. I'm having a little
That's okay.
situation with advancing my screen.
Thank you, Donna, for being in charge of that. You're so good at that.
It's so interesting because I rarely have a problem like this. So
Okay.
I might have to back out and come back in. I can't get it to go. My apologies for that technical difficulty.
It's all good.
That's awesome. Yeah, so again, I kind of covered this a little while ago, but our goal with systems of care is to approach the plan and delivery services that support the children and their youth and their families in the community that they're in. And the Texas partners are coming together and collaborating with one another while they are focused on what the family and the youth need. Systems of care approach.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk about like the national history and our Texas state history of community-based care, how we, the beginnings, how we got started and where we're at today. I apologize, I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. It's a lot of content. It's on the slide, the content's on the slide. So we will make the PowerPoint presentation available to attendees if you're interested afterwards. So in talking about the national history of system of care, I want to draw attention to the statement on the bottom of the screen where it's talking about the demonstration of community health programs funded by the National Institute of Mental Health. And there was a lot of, there were programs involving adults and serving adults with mental health concerns. And so this basically began around that time in the 1970s. And so what we're seeing is the mental health services moving from institutionalization to providing community-based cares. And so one of the demonstrations early on was serving adults. And then we moved into identifying system of care as a need within communities. And so community-based care, and one of the early things that we're going to talk about is CASP, Child and Adolescent Service System Program. So I've got some timelines here. I'm just going to pull a few points out. An important thing to note that most people reference is in 1992, Jane Nitzer released her famous story. So this famous study showing that 2/3 of all children with SED or serious emotional disturbances were not being served by the agencies and organizations. So basically she said that they were unclaimed children and that they were not receiving services. As we move on, in 1983, the NIMH, National Institute of Mental Health, initiated the CASP program, the Child and Adolescent Service System Program. And so that's where we got the first formal recognition that children were involved in multiple public systems across multiple child serving agencies, and that we needed to have a system of providing care for our kids. Then there was some action at the federal level. I'm not going to read down through all of these. An important thing is in 1986, where Congress passed the State Comprehensive Mental Health Services Plan Act around developing community-based care, and that move from institutionalized care to community systems of care. So systems of care is an important term that we're going to use for a little bit here. And then in 1986, and a comprehensive spectrum of mental health and other necessary services, which are organized into a coordinated network to meet the multiple and changing need of children and their families. And that was what Monica had referred to in an early slide, this statement around the definition of system of care, you know, early in about the year 1986. Then as we see this federal legislation happening and this federal move towards system of care and providing funding and services through community-based organizations, some of the things that we started to see here in Texas were some legislation, the Texas Integrative Funding Initiative, which we called TIFI. And so there was two state laws that were important in 1999 and then in 2013. And so funding began to move towards providing these integrated services. So initially we had the TIFI Consortium, and then it was the Texas System of Care Consortium. And so now today it's known as the Child and Youth Behavioral Health Subcommittee. And that's a subcommittee of the Behavioral Health Subcommittee. And those are quarterly meetings and actually are open to the public. It's important to note all of the players or all of the people that are at the table are child serving agencies like TEA and in juvenile justice agencies and some nonprofits and other agencies and organizations across the state. And initially they were required to provide some financing towards this community-based care project. However, later we did receive, the state of Texas did receive some grant funding. So in 2011, about the time that the funding started to change from those leader child serving organizations in Texas, SAMHSA awarded Texas Health and Human Services, which was DISH's Department of State Health Services. Back at that time, they gave them a planning grant, and then went on to give them a system of care grant. And through that funding for the system of care grant, we started to see more support for system of care projects and projects that provided community-based services to children and their families. So that's kind of a brief history, a very brief history of, like, you know, the federal changes moving into the state changes here in Texas, where we began to see parents supporting other parents, family partner type work, family peer support. We've got a timeline here of some things that happened in Texas. And so it's important to note that as the things are happening at the federal level, they're beginning to happen at the state level, and services are changing to be community-based, and funding is coming into the state through grants. Which will help support, you know, systems and services and families. So in 1985, we saw our first family liaison hired by a school district. Then we started to see the system of care language develop. Local mental health authorities were given some directive by the state about parent involvement. We began to see family partners, family peer support providers, parent partners, those terms coming up. And then we reference back to the CAS, Child and Adolescent Service System Program. So worked with the Mental Health America of Texas on a statewide parent involvement plan. So there's been entities and organizations that have come together to start to develop plans and services for children and families. And then I've got a reference here to the TIFI language that we were talking about a little earlier. And family partners have basically started to come on the scene at this point, as local mental health authorities are required by the state to hire a certified family partner. That was a very challenging startup, and it's still challenging today, but our roles are growing within local mental health authorities, and we have received a lot of recognition and respect from the people that we work with. Beth is going to be talking a little down the line, and Monica as well, about family partner services. So you'll get a better understanding of what that is and what we're talking about. So there's been additional system of care grants awarded to other counties and metropolitan areas in the state of Texas. Excuse me. And we have worked at including some of the rural areas in some of those system of care grant projects. So back about 2010 to 2012, the first family partner training was developed. The first certification class was held. And it was at that time that we had, through funding from the state, we had a family partner coordinator, we had training material, and we had family partners that were being certified and going to work in local mental health authorities. So that's our community-based care services for children and their families. The last thing on this slide is Texas receives the System of Care Planning Grant in 2011. And then they, on the bottom of this slide, the state is awarded their first System of Care grant. So it was a large grant for 3 years, I believe. And that one of the important parts of that grant to us is that it identified a certified family partner as the lead state family contact, and it incorporated a lot of support for certified family partners. So we've had support from different areas in the state of Texas, but system of care is very important when we're talking about like community-based care. And then just briefly then, between 2013 and 2020, in addition to our certification training, there were some endorsement trainings that were developed. So we have training and experience in wraparound services, which we'll talk about later. We have a special education endorsement, juvenile justice endorsement trainings. We've had advisory councils to be able to provide input to the entities that are providing trainings to us, and also to the state. An important program that rolled out in 2015 was we call Yes Waiver, Youth Empowerment Services, and it utilized the wraparound support. So we can talk about wraparound supports, but it is it's a program to help keep kids in their community and provide services to the child and the family in their community. And the idea behind this program, and it works, is to prevent the child from having placement outside of the home. And then in 2017, there was advanced and master level certifications that were created for us and approved. And that's when the first of us began to apply for and become advanced and master level certified family partners. And then through changes at HHS, our most recent changes in 2020, where family partner services were moved from the HHS Children's Mental Health Department into the HHS Peer Services Unit. And currently today, I would tell you that we're getting a lot of support for individually and collectively, and we hope to see family partner services continue to grow. So then also continuing our conversation about certified family partners. So we've talked about in community-based care and systems of care, certified family partners got their start in local mental health authorities. And I think Beth is going to take it from here and tell us a little bit more about family partners and family peer support.
Hey guys, so I just want you to just close your eyes and imagine a tree, and with the tree you have all these different limbs. So the agency that I work for, they have so many different places that family partners, you know, can help with, assist with families. So I have actually been assigned to the Mind Court program through juvenile probation. So I'm assigned to juvenile probation. So, you know, we serve the youth ages 10 to 17 that have an offense, and they haven't been legally charged, but if they work the program and it's a year program and they're successful, then the offense is sealed upon, you know, a successful completion of the course, because we do have some young men that max gain. They've just gotten to the top of where they can go, and then it's just closed for them. So the role of the family partner in this Mind Court program that I'm at, so we work with the parent, you know, to work as a team. We have this intake, and we tell a parent, you know, this is what I can help you with. If you need resources, food, clothing, you need help filling out a Social Security application or disability, you know, we can do that. We want the parents to be able to advocate, you know, for the child in the program, and for their own children, for the whole family. But we're like right by them, like we're right there. And like when people say, well, who are you? Well, I'm a family partner. Or what's that? Well, I work with the parent and we work together. And there are some things that like people just can't do and they need help with. So then the family partner says, hey, let me help you with this. You know, we educate the parent on the diagnosis of the child to have a better understanding. A lot of parents are like, I just don't know what's wrong with my kid. I just don't know what to do. You know, this medication is supposed to do A, B, and C. Well, you know what, let's sit down, let's talk about it. Let me see what the diagnosis is. Let's sit down together, and, you know, the medication, you know, let's go over that so that they have a better understanding. So we also assist with parenting classes. Not that they're a bad parent, because I don't really think that there really is a bad parent. It just helps them to be more successful, you know. And then taking the Nami classes. I mean, it's amazing. Like I know we talked about the history of Nami, and but I wish I had Nami when my kid was younger, and I found out, well, we probably had something, but I never knew. And so then, you know, again, I'm a family partner because I have a child and I have 2 children that have mental health. So I can't judge another parent because they don't know, just like I didn't know. So when the parent just wants to sit and talk about what's going on, hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I know that when I first started as a family partner, it's kind of like just kind of gotten put into talking with a parent. You know, my first family was, my supervisor said, just go with her to the doctor's appointment. Just sit with her and, you know, just talk to her. And I'm like, man, why do I got to sit next to this lady? You know, she's drooling. I mean, she doesn't want to talk. I mean, you know, 5 years later, I overheard that parent say, if I didn't have Beth, I would have lost my kids. So she never said that to me directly, but knowing that that's how she felt, it made me feel pretty good. So, and I know we have similar stories throughout all of family partners, but if there's any story that I could ever give, when I see this lady, I kind of just smile. I don't want to say anything to her, but I just kind of want to smile.
That's so awesome. I love that story. So when you were first, Beth, when you were first hired at the LMHA that you work at, what were some of your first duties with families? Because you're in this Mind Court program now.
Yeah, so when I first started, I was part of a Care Bear, something like. I really couldn't tell you. I was assigned to a unit. but there's just so many units that I've been assigned to that has just been amazing. Like it's kind of the same thing that we do as a family partner. It's just a different title. So, I mean, I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for that question. Donna, you threw me. I've been assigned to intake where I listen to their story and I'm like, well, how can I help you? Like, and a lot of times it's the school. A lot of times it's being bullied, and sometimes it's the teachers being bullied and bullying the children. And then it's like, the kids don't have beds. You know, can you help me get beds? And it's just like, I'll help you as much as I can, you know, and, you know, post it on bare necessities. Hey, I'm working with the family. The children are sleeping with no mattresses. You would not believe the outpour of people in San Antonio that will say, hey, I got a bed. Can you come get it? I was like, yeah, I will. And, you know, groceries. And then we have grandparents raising grandkids. And then there's a programs for that. They'll come out, they'll see what you need. If anything, they're going to get a box of food a month. So, I mean, there's just so many different things that, you know, I've been able to assist with. And, you know, nobody knows, you know, what you go through with, because you don't want to take it home. And then you got to worry about self-care. And I worry about self-care. So, you know, it's like my supervisor in the beginning would say, shut your phone off at 5 o'clock. Well, honestly, who really does that? Who shuts their phone off at 5 o'clock? You know, I've had somebody call me at 11 o'clock, says their husband kicked them out. They're on the street. Okay, well, you know, those are like, shh, don't tell the supervisor. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that we do.
So the needs don't stop at 5 o'clock.
They don't.
No. Thanks for sharing that, Beth. Monica's gonna talk to us about what she does, where she works.
Awesome, thank you. Gosh, I wish we had more time to talk about everything, but I'm gonna go through this pretty quickly. So we were hired as parent liaisons at Travis County. We were first under a grant, a SAMHSA grant, and then Travis County decided to pull us in, and we were really thankful to do that in 2005. So I've been with the county, this year will be 18 years in 2022. This is an intervention plan sheet that I've created for myself to stay a little bit organized for me. And you will not see crisis support on here. It's on the very bottom, but I do shut my phone off at 5. I have to, or else I cannot make it the next day. But what we do for crisis support is once we come back on, we link them to crisis supports in their community. And then we have a crisis safety plan for them so that they have like a calling tree for whenever there is a crisis after 5 or on the weekends, they know who to call. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that, Beth, because crises don't stop after 5. So a lot of this, all of this is what certified families do, certified family partners do, advocacy during school meetings, and it doesn't have to be an ARD, a special education ARD meeting. It can be a 504 meeting, or it can just be, last week I had a meeting with a parent and the band teacher. And the band teacher was having a hard time, you know, with the students. So we just had a general school meeting. So I provide advocacy in school meetings, in court. I've been to CPS court a few times and just give an update on the services that I'm providing to the parents, and a lot of juvenile justice court. And so in Travis County, we have a mental health court, and it's called the COPE program, which is similar to what Beth just described in San Antonio. We go to medical and mental health appointments, a lot of psychiatry appointments to help the family, the parent and the child understand the recommendations and the treatment. In integral care, our local mental health authority here in Travis County is Integral Care. And I've been to some of those appointments with the psychiatrist because sometimes our parents feel like they're not being heard or supported. And other advocacy appointments, City of Austin housing. I've been there to advocate, you know, for an extra bedroom for the child with a mental health challenge. Community linkage, a lot of basic needs. Here in Travis County, we have Health and Human Services that help with electric and rent assistance. So it's helping fill out the forms sometimes and following up with those case managers and social workers. And when we graduate we usually make sure that they have a case manager or social worker at an entity that can continue providing the support that we do. Mental health, their local mental health authority or Lone Star Supportive Care or community care, making sure that they are linked in the community for their mental health and medical supports and needs. Mental health education, we're going to talk later about Nami basics and the curriculum that we use. And I lean on that a lot. There's 6 chapters, we'll talk more about it, but I provide that education that Nami basics provides. And then also teaching them what the DSM-5 is and how their child got diagnosed, and just different things, teaching them how the professionals get to their treatment plans and recommendations. If the school's having problems or other community or family members are having problems understanding the mental health diagnosis or behaviors or treatment, I can also provide some education around that. And our main thing is parent-to-parent support. We are mentors and emotional support specialists for these families. So sometimes that looks like a weekly check-in call. It could be venting, it could be creating tasks for the week. I have one mother who's medically fragile. So that means going to their house once a week on Monday, helping her look at her calendar and make transportation plans to her appointments. Self-care planning, I help the family, the parent, the caregiver, create a self-care plan, which hits all the domains. It's spiritual, if they have a spiritual domain and practice in their life. It's the physical domain, the mental, the emotional, and financial domains, and making sure that they have a goal if they want a goal on specific things and how I can help them reach those goals. Role modeling and appointments. I had one family that her goal was literally, it was from going to 1 to 100 in a school meeting. And so just role modeling before the school meetings and during the school meetings. By the time she graduated from our program, she was able to manage her emotions more at the school. I already talked about mentoring and crisis support, and then empowerment, empowering the families. Like Donna said earlier, nothing about us without us. It's hand-holding at first, and just empowering them and showing them that they can get through this. So that's a little bit of what I do. And then I have other on all of those things because, this is not the only list, right? So I support the wraparound teams and just help the care coordinators with a lot of different things, phone calls and things like that. Thank you, Donna.
That's fantastic. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do, where I work, and I think it's going to really tie into, what Monica, you and Beth have already talked about. But when I started to work at a local mental health authority 6 years ago, I remember one of the stories that my supervisor told me. She was the first family partner that was hired for the agency that I work at that covered 8 counties. And that was, early on, and there were no directives about how to provide services. And I love her story where she says that, somebody just handed her the keys to a car and told her just go forth and do good. And that's really our beginnings. We were active participants, and if not solely, in writing our certified, our training curriculums, and then helping to develop the role in the field. And one of the big challenges that we've had is in working with mental health providers and clinicians, gaining their recognition and respect. So today in local mental health authorities, we do like to call ourselves mental health professionals. And we'll talk about why, but we're not clinicians. Our role is to support the family first and foremost. We're going to stick true to our core competencies about how we provide family support. My first job was just doing family support to families of children in the children's mental health area. And when Yes Waiver or Youth Empowerment Services rolled out across the state, I stepped into that role and I began to learn about wraparound services. And I am such a proponent of wraparound services. Maybe one day in the future we'll do a presentation on wraparound services, because it's a very important program, and family partners are a very significant part of that. And to kind of piggyback on what Beth and Monica said, when I'm working with families, I do sometimes sit in their prescriber appointments with them, because they need somebody, a second pair of ears, or they don't understand something, or they just need someone to debrief with after they've come out of the appointment. We help family with special education services. We'll meet with them and support them before an ARD, and we'll do ARD prep, and then we'll meet with them after an ARD, and they'll give them a chance to talk to another parent about what went well, what didn't go well. We link them to community resources. So we are experts at navigating services, and we're experts at navigating community services and systems of care. So I think one of the most important things that we do is provide emotional support to the families. We are a person within that mental health unit, or within their wraparound team or whatever. We're that person that's providing that continuity of care that's going to help keep them engaged, and we're going to be there to tell the other people on the team. We're going to represent the family's voice and make sure that the family's voice is heard, and that their wishes are honored in those processes. So we'll talk some more as we go forward here about family partner services.
So Donna, thank you, Donna. Donna pretty much covered everything on this slide. And as you can see, we just stress so much about the things that we do that, I mean, I don't want to be redundant with this slide. So we're just going to move over to the next slide, Donna.
Okay.
So the certified family partners are core competencies, certification, and endorsement trainings. So our core competencies include ethics, confidentiality, and HIPAA, natural supports, engagement in systems of care. And then we receive the following family partner trainings. It's the certification endorsement trainings, special education, wraparound, juvenile justice and nurturing program, and continuing education trainings. So before COVID, and they would say, hey, who wants to sign up for this training? Everybody's going. You go and you stay in a hotel, you get really nice meals and stuff. But the thing is to get these trainings so that you have more knowledge. Amazing. And then we talk about the levels of certification include the master's, advanced, it's basic, advanced, and master's. So the certified family partners and community mental health, family peer support, and mental health professionals. So we receive the following professional trainings from our agencies. So every agency has different things that they want us to know. Ethics, again, HIPAA, assist, and SAMA, and then COPSI and the SUD training, and then motivational interviewing, cultural competency, trauma-informed care, and medication training. So I just want to talk a little funny thing about the cultural competency. When we have these people, throughout the United States where they have different things that they go by. I went to do a home visit with the family, and I saw a table that had, underneath the table had these like figurines, and I saw some candy wrappers, and I thought it was trash, and I picked it up. But here is that the family, their culture that they were giving to the people or the saints that protect them. And here I thought I was picking up trash, and boy, did I learn that that's not trash. It was part of their culture. Never did it again. So, medication training. So it's good to be able to sit with the families and teach them about their medications, you know, then additional trainings and community involvement. So sometimes we get the training to provide youth mental health first aid and adult mental health first aid in our communities. And then many of the CPs hold seats on committees representing family voice at local, state, and national levels.
We're really involved at the state level and then within our local communities. And I apologize for this slide. I probably should have given more information for these acronyms here, but the SUD is substance use disorder, and the COPSD is co-occurring psychiatric and substance use disorder. And then as far as ethics and HIPAA, assist in SAMA, those are some of the trainings that we are required to do to maintain our positions within our agencies.
So the value of lived experience. I mean, who would ever think that how we had our children and raised our children, that's lived experience? I would have never thought that. I was just like, this is my child. This is how it's going to be. So a family partner's personal lived experience caring for a child or young adult with a mental, emotional, or behavioral health concerns is their primary tool used in supporting families. A family partner's lived experience is critical to engaging the family and in establishing a trusting relationship that is valued. And the lived experience of the family partner and the role of serving the families of individuals in services are the two characteristics which distinguish a family partner from other professional positions to mental health services. And for staff who are not family partners, their lived experience may inform their work with individuals they serve, but is not the primary tool utilized to do their jobs.
That's so true.
So as you see this, the picture of this lady, and she has all these hats. I mean, we wear a lot of different hats, you know, during different times. So authentic family peer support is staying true to our peer support role, working in community mental health and family peer support and or mental health professional. Family partners may appear to wear many hats in the community mental health, but our primary role is to serve the family. So our motto is do for, do with, and cheer on. So our primary role is to serve the family, providing hope that recovery is possible. It helps the family engage in services and actively participate in their child's recovery, assist them with making informed decisions, ensures individual needs are met, ensures the family voice is heard, helps the family identify their strengths, assists with empowerment and self-advocacy, connects families to resources, and coaches and encourages, helps promote wellness and self-care, which is really, really important in everyday life, provides hope and support during times of crisis.
And so many of these are included in wraparound services. For instance, like ensures the family's voice is heard as a family partner being on a wraparound team or a treatment team. That's one of the main things that we do with the family is we listen to what their concerns and needs are. We help them identify their strengths, and then we're that voice within that treatment team to make sure that everyone is on the same page and that the family is getting what they're asking for and needing.
So what does family support look like? So if we look at Nami, the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. So here's a little bit of history of Nami Basics. It was launched nationally in 2008, and I was trained in 2016. So it's been around a long time, and I love teaching Nami Basics. It's amazing, and I too wish I would have had Nami Basics when my kiddos were smaller. You know, the first class was in San Antonio. Whoop, whoop. that's where you're from. So it's NAMI Basics in general. It's 6-session course for parents and caregivers. For, you know, they can be children, adolescents, 21 years or younger. And it's a real big, I link my families to NAMI Basics. The one thing that comes out of it that I think is one of the most important things is that they meet other parents going through a journey similar to theirs. And so it really turns into like a little support group for 6 weeks. And even afterwards, they exchange numbers sometimes, and they continue, you know, to have a relationship after NAMI Basics. But it is, it's only 6 sessions. It's free. And the sources and information in the curriculum have all been vetted, and it's very a script curriculum so that everybody is teaching NAMI Basics the right way with the right information. So NAMI's done a really good job.
While you're doing anything, could you write down your social security numbers and stuff? Sorry.
Oh, Beth, you're not muted. Anyway, so it's a reliable source. There's usually around 200 classes a year, and I think that that's even growing more. There's more than 1,500 volunteer caregivers that decide to give back to NAMI and help other parents. More than 10,000 people have completed basics. There is Spanish. I know that there's a lot of talk about getting volunteers and trying to find other languages to support other families, but right now it's English and Spanish. And there's different ways. Because of COVID, we've had to do a lot of trying new things. And so in the beginning, it was in person, which is my favorite because you have that personal connection with the family and the teachers. There's 2 teachers for NAMI Basics. But during COVID, they did create it on demand. So a parent or family or caregiver can go on to NAMI. I'm a part of NAMI Central Texas. So go onto the website and just view the lessons on their own at their own time. Or we did start doing in-person virtual classes, which is, it's nice because it's live and you're still meeting other families and talking with other families, but it's just not in person. So next slide.
And I've taken the on-demand myself, and it's a really good material, but it really lacks that, you know, in person, you know, collaboration with other families and that support during those meetings that you can provide or that other families, you know, can provide to you. So I highly recommend the in-person or virtual if you can take that, but the on-demand course is really good as well.
Yeah, and you know, the one thing you miss about doing the in-person class is being able to congratulate that parent. You know, yeah, you're gonna do fine. You know, you take that class picture, and honestly, before COVID, you gave the hugs, and you made them feel good. And you know, and asked them, would anybody like to be a teacher? And like, I think you'd be great. I think with doing it online, it takes a little bit from that. I'm sorry, Monica.
It does. No, it does. It does. Donna and Beth, you're absolutely right. I agree 100%. And the one nice thing about all of our NAMI material is that we start with teaching our families and supports what the stages of grief are, right? And so that's usually the first time parents have even heard of that. And we teach them, you know, that there's stages of grief, and you can be in anger today, and then, you know, tomorrow, you know, you might be in denial again, and it just goes up and down, and it's, you know, just a cycle, and it's okay to grieve. NAMI Basics is in person or virtually, and the chapters, the first one, I'm in class 1, and they give you, when we're in person, they would give you, I don't know if you can see this, but it's a notebook and it has 6 tabs. And so each class that you go to, you'll get the next lesson and then build to your notebook. And in class 1, it's the introduction on mental health conditions, and just, you know, explaining a little bit, and it's not your fault because a lot of families are questioning and have a lot of grief and guilt. And so class 1 is the introduction. Class 2 is the brain biology, which is my favorite. It has all those really long scientific names that I usually can't pronounce. And so when I do mental health education, I really rely on this piece. And even the pictures, like the pictures are really good. That shows you what the brain is and the neurotransmitters and things like that, to help our parents understand, what's going on, right? And the brain is an organ just like a heart. And so it just has, some problems, just like we have problems with our heart or our lungs. In class 3, it's about treatment and teaching them and empowering families that they have a voice in treatment. Class 4 is communication skills and crisis preparation. We talked about that earlier. 5 is navigating the mental health, school, and juvenile justice system. And 6 is the advocacy, self-care, and then the evaluation, and they get a certificate after that. So, the 3 ways to participate are awesome. I think we're getting used to this virtual world, and we're able to touch so many families now. So, it's just, I can't say enough about Nami Basics. It's really great. And I love teaching with my teachers. So I encourage everyone to look more into that, and very helpful.
It's interesting because there are some within the NAMI Basics material there, we're covering within NAMI Basics some of what we cover in certified family partner training, in our family partner training. So one thing that we might not be going in depth about would be the brain biology and getting a diagnosis, but we do talk about communication skills. Navigation is navigating systems is one of our core competencies. And we talk about advocacy and self-care. It's interesting that so much of what we learn initially within NAMI Basics is found also in our family partner certification materials. And then of course we have other things that we learn that are not included in the NAMI Basics material. And that's where we're hopeful that, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but that's where we're hopeful that people will become interested in, family support and want to, take the next step. As far as like being a family partner or a family peer support provider.
Remind me, Donna, and the other piece is, in order to get a certificate, you can only miss one class, correct? So I mean, it's a serious program. So, and if you miss more than one class, then you have to start over. So I can't say enough about NAMI and NAMI Basics.
Yeah, we're all definitely proponents for it, and we talk it up every time we get a chance.
Yeah, so I was gonna just add real fast. So a lot of the times that the parents are taking the NAMI classes because CPS is saying, I need you to complete these things, and one of them is a NAMI Basic. They don't want to be there, and you can tell right away. But once you start talking with these other parents, and they're talking about A and they're talking about B, then you got these other parents that say, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, and how can I get this? And so it just opens up like a flower, like it's just like blooming. So that's why I think it's amazing.
It's so true. It's amazing experience, isn't it?
Yeah. So the next steps, family peer support in Texas. So the landscape of the family peer support in Texas is what it is and how you can become involved, and how can you be involved, and how can you become a family partner, and how can you provide family peer support with NAMI. So NAMI Basics is a first step to needed information and skills to support other parents and caregivers. In our classes, I always tell these people just before graduation, you'd be a great family partner. You meet the best qualification, and you have a child with a mental health disorder. So and then when you ask them to be a teacher, then, yeah, I don't want to be a teacher. Well, that's how I felt too. I can't do this. I mean, before today's presentation, I was sweating. I was nervous. You got Monica and Donna saying, it's going to be okay. But yeah, and Mary Baird too. So the next slide.
Beth, let me make a correction. Patty Haynes, who's with NAMI Texas, NAMI Basics gives a parent a certificate whether they have missed one or more classes if they attend the last class. So sorry, I misspoke on that.
Okay, that's That's good information to know. So in talking about certified family partners in community mental health and just in general, family peer support in Texas, and we brought out that piece in that timeline where Nami Basics, began in Texas, and that's definitely should be included in the timeline of, providing support to families, and that movement towards, providing peer support, that one-on-one, one parent to another, parent support, and how there's many of those roles in Texas that are paid roles. There's a lot of volunteer positions, but going back to the slide where we were just looking at, there are at the basics material, at the basics chapters, there is a lot that's already included in basics. That's a foundation for what family peer support providers do across the state of Texas. And so there's definitely room for people to move into other roles in the state. And we encourage you to do that. And we can link you or connect you or provide additional support to you around that. And then also I would suggest that, there is possibly a place for family peer support roles within Nami. There are other Nami state affiliates that have those positions or roles. They're non-paid roles, but they provide additional training. So like next step training up from the Nami basics training that would incorporate more what we as certified family partners learn in our certification trainings and our endorsement training. So it feels like a logical next step, but that would be for people to decide, as family supporters, what we feel like that we have the capacity to do for other families in the state. But there's definitely a lot of support from master level certified family partners across the state where we can, come alongside you and help you navigate the training and the steps that you need to take to move into those roles.
Donna, I know that we only have a few minutes and we want to take questions, but there was somebody in the audience that's asking how to become a certified family partner. It is not through Nami, and Felicia Mason Edwards, who is with the state and who's over the certified family partners, is actually a participant. So if someone wants to send Felicia a private message, I don't know if you can do that, but I'm sure that she would get back to you on how to become a family partner.
And we can definitely get that information for you because there's been a change where our training has been moved from an organization into the hands of the state of Texas, and they're now collaborating, or they have a contract with UT San Antonio and their area called centralized training. Our trainings are now being offered through that area, but I'll put a link in, I guess I'll put a link in there for Texas Family Voice Network, where they can maybe contact us via Texas Family Voice Network. What is that? Does that sound good to y'all? Mm-hmm. And this is actually in the Nami Basics manual, and I think Beth's gonna tell us about this.
So it's just a little snippet from Dr. David Satcher. Is the responsibility for children's mental health care is dispersed across multiple systems: schools, primary care, and the juvenile justice system, child welfare, and substance abuse treatment. But the first family is the family.
Yeah, the first system. So tying that back into where we started in our conversation, where we talked about, moving out of institutionalized care and moving into community-based care, and talking about of care movement. It's important that we recognize that the first system, the first child serving system, is the family, and all other systems are there to support the family system. And just a second, I opened my chat box, and I think that was what caused me to my screen to freeze up previously. Just a moment. And my little mouse says, I don't want to work. So. And this is where we'll take questions, but we want everyone to know that as we talk to organizations and as we talk to child serving systems and as we advocate for more paid roles for family support providers, one thing that we're saying to everyone is the most culturally responsive thing that we can do for families is to provide family peer support. So an important role and aspect of system of care is that there is that family support built within that program. And we want to make sure that the organizations are just not out there talking about, you know, being culturally competent or responsive, but we want to see them actually being culturally responsive and providing that family peer support to families. So.
Ms. Felicia Mason Edwards did give me permission to put her email in the chat. So if you guys have any questions about certified family partners through the state, you can definitely email her. So
okay, thanks.
There is
Thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. If anyone wants to come off mute and ask a question, go ahead. But I do have one question from Holly, and it is, are you aware of any hospitals that have CFPs come in to meet with parents, families who are interested?
There are not, we don't have, and Felicia can correct me, but we don't have any CFPs in hospitals, but every county, a local mental health authority should have one. So if you're interested in finding out who your certified family partner is in your county, you can definitely reach out to the state and Felicia to find out who the certified family partner is in your area.
And there's a couple of other avenues as well. There is a procedure when children and adolescents exit facilities, mental health facilities, that the local mental health authorities are given a notice to contact the family. And in that happening, the family can be linked to a family partner. There's a lot of talk at the state right now about residential treatment facilities, and we're on the forefront of that as far as developing family support roles in residential treatment facilities. So, but we would love for everyone to advocate for family partners within hospital settings for young people.
Hey, Donna, this is Felicia, and I would just add, we have been in communication with a couple of hospitals because that has been a concern. Right now, we're just weighing all our options and seeing what that would be like for the certification process. And so we do have a lot of interest for families to be participating in hospital settings. Some of the things that they brought up and mentioned were specifically working with families who have IDD, mental health issues, and then also brain injury issues at a hospital level. So hopefully in the near future, we will be, as we're starting to expand kind of the family partner role and family partner supports, working in hospital settings along with many other settings as well.
Thank you. And we should introduce you. This is Felicia Edwards Mason. She is the family partner representative or coordinator, or what your title is now at the state within the peer services unit. So she is a coordinator helping to coordinate family partner services and family peer support services in Texas. I should have let you introduce yourself.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. No, thank you. It's just been an honor to be on here with you guys and just hear all the wonderful work that you all are doing. And our job at HHSC is just to continue to support that work, to hear from the community. What are some of the things that you want in the future? What does it look like? And to really partner together on behalf of the families that we serve. So we are I can definitely say it's exciting times. Family voice is really starting to be heard louder and louder at the state level. And so we want to make sure that we're integrated in every single aspect of all of health and human services and behavioral health services. So we're just super excited that we have fabulous CFPs like all three of you guys that are out there doing the work every single day.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you for saying that.
I have a question, Donna. You invited
Hi,
us
Jackie.
to come off. Hi. Ed and I do some support groups, and then I've been helping in San Antonio on the Warm Line, which is really fabulous. It's really exciting, and I'm loving it. But I can think of at least 2 or 3 situations that really could use a family partner. One of the people is already kind of connected with in a CPS situation. How would we get this person connected? She is really kind of up against the wall right now and really needing some extra support. How would we do that?
I'm going to let Beth take that and answer it because she does work in Bexar County. And she has that history and that experience there. So I think there's a couple of ways to access the services where she's at or to become connected with her.
So to access services, you'd have to call Jackie, you're aware of our agency. You can call them and get into the intake. And so the parent would call and say, this is what's going on. And they would just set up a time for that parent to, it's all done by the phone.
And that's CHCS?
Yes.
Okay. Well, maybe you and I will talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Soon. Okay.
And
But yes,
Melissa,
I will do that.
Yeah,
Pardon me?
Melissa has that information as well.
Oh, okay. Melissa Tiarina.
Yes.
Or the other, is there another Melissa?
No.
Okay.
There's always challenges. There are not enough of us. Family partners, and there are a few agencies across the state that have really been supporters and champions for the role of family peer support, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be on that call today. So it's growing. There needs to be more of us. There needs to be funding for more of us, but once you link that person to the local mental health authority, just tell them to ask for the certified family partner. Just everyone that they talk to, ask for the certified family partner, and you'll eventually get linked with it. And if you keep asking and you're not getting it, I would just call the front desk and say, hey, give me the phone number to your certified family partner. And we can certainly help you navigate that mental health system.
Okay, where is your office in San Antonio located? Because our office is next door to CHCS, but one section of it.
So I'm at the Bandera Clinic.
Oh, okay.
And I'm at Story Lane as well. But if you just give me a call, we can talk and we can try to figure out how to help the family. Not a problem at all. A lot of the Nami classes that we teach, they need help with a family partner as well. And I just give them my phone number and then we talk about it. And I've attended lots of school meetings based off of that.
Great. Thank you, Beth. And thank you, Donna. And thank you, Monica.
That's okay. I put my email in the chat too, in case anybody, I know we only have 2 minutes left and there's about 3 other questions. So I'm not sure, but if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to email or call. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Patty, is there another question that you want to share?
There's one. What is the link to all the Lmhs centers throughout Texas?
Local mental health authorities. You would have to go to the county specifically. And you can just Google local mental health authority in Travis County, because ours is called Integral Care, and as Beth and Jackie were talking, the local mental health authority in Bexar County is different. So I would say to just Google local mental health authority in whatever county you're looking for.
Right.
And one last question with a minute left. The question is for the presenters, do you see any difference between the role of a CFPs or CFPs working in children youth programs versus supporting family members of adults with mental health concerns, especially conditions that tend to be diagnosed in late teens, early 20s, like schizophrenia or bipolar?
It's interesting that you would say that, because what we're seeing within the mental health authorities, and I'll talk about the first episode psychosis program, where there's a percentage of funding, SAMHSA funding, that goes directly to the local mental health authorities for coordinated specialty care. So providing support to individuals that have those type of diagnosis. And so there is family support in many of those treatment teams. So for instance, the agency that I work at, we have a family partner that works on that treatment team. Predominantly or historically, we've served families of individuals with children. However, with most of these grants, the LMHA is built in a family partner support or peer support provider within those grant applications. And so we do see some family partners across the state in those programs. And then there's another program, another level of care within community mental health called transition age youth. And that's been something that's been a little difficult to get started within the state, but there is supposed to be a family partner component within that transition age youth. And so the idea behind that is that there's this warm handoff between the young person going into adult services and their family. So they're referred to peer support, the family's referred to the family partner. And then of course there has to be the permissions from the young person that's becoming an adult. But we're really hoping to see that role grow more, because we really do want to be there to support those families that are just struggling with the process of letting go and trying to understand navigating adult mental health systems. And I put a link in the chat. Oh, well, actually, I tried to, and I think Patty did too.
They both came through.
Yeah.
So very, very good. Thank you very much. And if we could, I'd just like to say thank you to the presenters. Thank you to everybody that was here, asking the questions, getting involved. Presenters, thank you for putting together a great presentation, letting us know about the program and educating us. Can we just give them a round of applause? And I know that we have reached our time limit. So thank you very much, everyone. There you go. All right, everybody, thank you very much and enjoy the conference. Again, the Zoom meeting will end, right? And you'll just go right back into your conference hub where you can go to the link where you were emailed this morning. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Monica.
everyone. Yes,
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Patty.